Hello everyone, I understand that this is not the usual setup. Trust me, we are in different surroundings now, which I will go into in the actual video itself. I did want to start this off real quick though with just a little, post, editing Media 13 to come in and say that this episode that you're going to watch is going to be a little different from what we're used to when it comes to last month I watched. First up, I want to say that your feedback is extremely important to this because if you're not a fan of the new style or the new direction that I'm trying to take this in, you need to let me know so that I know that I should tone it back or just go back to how it used to be to begin with, because I know that people do enjoy this series. So let me know what you think. If it doesn't work, we can always change it back. I am going to give it 3 episodes though, just to see. And yeah, I'll explain all of this around me in the actual video. So my name is Media 13. I will see you whenever I next see you. Enjoy the video. Hello and welcome to everyone's favourite Letterboxd log show. It's time for Last Month I Watched. That's right people, it's a brand new month, and if you're not aware by now, this is the Letterboxd log show where I take a look back at everything I watched last month. You might be thinking, that's in the title. That's the point. Real quick before I get into things, you might be noticing that there's a bit of a change around me. There's not quite what we're used to seeing here. That's because I have moved. We're working on somewhere new to film the videos, but in the meantime, you're going to have to cope with the bedroom. I've made it make do. We've got the Media 13 sign in the back here anyway. You know what they say, it's like the home-based slogan, make a house a home. We're making this one a home, but we're also working on something pretty cool that I will continue to update you on every month with the installments of Last Month I Watched. I think I've pretty much done everything that I need to do in the intro here, so let me just preface by saying that these are all my opinions, you're welcome to disagree, and let's get into everything I rewatched last month. On April 8th, while I was in London, with a group of friends I sat down and watched Flushed Away, the 2008 Aardman animation film. I absolutely love this movie and I gave it an 8 out of 10. Next up on the 9th, with that same group of friends, I ended up watching Scream, which I have seen multiple times, but what made this viewing special in particular is that me, along with one of the other 4 people, are the only people who knew the twist or the reveal of the killers. So getting to see that with people that had never seen it before, that was really cool, and you obviously know it's a 10 out of 10. On April 10th, the hype of Star Wars Celebration was fully underway. That is why I went to London for the weekend. Did not negate me from watching films though, because I ended up sitting down with 2 others and watching every single sequel trilogy film, all 3 of them. That's right, we watched The Force Awakens, we watched The Last Jedi, and we watched The Rise of Skywalker across April 10th and 11th, and it was so much fun getting to watch it with other people. And again, this is a perfect trilogy in my eyes. This is something that I love with my entire heart and something that I might be covering soon. Then there's a massive gap in the rewatches, but on April 25th I watched Evil Dead, the 2013 remake from Fede Alvarez, and this is another very strong film that I like. Definitely, in my opinion, the grade A standard for what a horror remake can be. However, I didn't just watch it on a whim, although that wouldn't have necessarily been a bad thing because this movie is very good. But with the rewatches out of the way, it's time to get on to segment 2 of the video. So here we are, the cinema trip corner. This is likely going to change, but I did just want to differentiate the setup somewhat to the first watch slash rewatch place. With a total of 4 cinema visits this month, each of these being the only first watches I actually had this month, with one of them actually being a rewatch because I only saw 3 new films. The first one that I saw on April 1st was Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, and this is one that I enjoyed quite a bit. I thought it nailed the humour most of the time. I thought the acting was pretty solid across the board. I thought the writing was quite witty. It all adds into the humour, and I think it is just a relatively enjoyable film. I think the pacing can be a little off with it sometimes. I think the third act goes by way too quickly. But like I say, it's a pretty solid movie. Nothing exactly stands out about it, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong with it that I can think of apart from some dodgy pacing. But yeah, I enjoyed Honor Among Thieves and I gave it a 7 out of 10. Moving on to April 9th, this was another London adventure that I had when I went to the cinema. And I just want to give a quick disclaimer because London, your cinemas compared to Carlisle, so much better. I understand you probably don't need me to tell you how much better the cinemas are compared to Carlisle because, you know, it's Who's even heard of Carlisle? But I saw the Super Mario Brothers movie. Now this is one that was highly anticipated, highly controversial because of the certain members of the voice cast, which are fine, mind you. And I gave it a 7 out of 10 this time round. And I say this time around because then 9 days later on the 18th, I went to go see it a second time in Carlisle. However, we did see it with Blair this time, and he rarely comes to the cinema, so it's always a treasure when you get him to go. It was better this time. I gave it an 8 out of 10 the second time around. I went from liking the animation to loving it. I went from enjoying the score to thinking it's probably one of my favourites of the year. The Super Mario Brothers movie is not the best film I've ever seen, but it is gorgeously simplistic while hitting all of the notes that it needs to hit. I think the voice acting is fine, if not even good. I think Chris Pratt does well in his role as Mario. I think the way that they explain why the voice is, not the voice that we all thought it was going to be is fine. Also, a side note, who unironically wants to sit and listen to 90 minutes of the original Mario voice? Who would not claw out their ears having to listen to that for more than 10 minutes? I get it in a game when it's just little one-liners, little noises, but in a movie, let's try something different. And they did, and it worked. On top of that, Jack Black is great. Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach is probably my highlight, I reckon. Charlie Day as Luigi, I also really did enjoy. And again, we have Chris Pratt as Mario. We have Keegan-Michael Key as Toad. He didn't do the traditional Toad voice, which I'm very upset about. Mario I can live without, Toad not so much. And our final cinema trip of the month came on the 26th of April, and that was Evil Dead Rise. Now people, I don't want to give too much away here because there is a video on it coming soon. Whether it comes out this month or start next month, I don't know. But there is one coming. I do want to make one. So I won't give away much, but if you want a 3-word review, I love horror. So that's it for cinema trips this month. We didn't have any individual, first time watches at home. So we will pass it back over to the main stage for the TV segment of the show, which is another new segment. So yeah, we're going to have to iron out a lot of kinks with this new format, but I think it could be fun. Back to you. So this is another brand new segment for Last Month I Watched, where I detail all of the TV progress that I've made, whether it be full binge watching their seasons or even 1 or 2 episodes of something. This sort of thing is going to work in the sense that if I finish a season, I will give it a full rating. If I've watched the final few episodes of a season, I will give the full season a rating. However, if I've just watched 1 or 2, I'm not going to rate it because it's part of a story that I haven't yet complete. But you're going to see what I mean here. So, The Mandalorian Season 3 was the first thing I watched. I watched this while travelling down to London this month. I do have a video dropping on it later this month, so I want to, keep hidden a lot of my thoughts on it. But for the most part, I did enjoy this. I thought it was a lot of fun. It does, deviate from itself a little too often sometimes, but it didn't really hamper it for me. I can't say that it was a major flaw to the point of pulling me out of the enjoyment. Now, that was travelling down to London, but while in London, I believe it was day 1 of Star Wars Celebration. That night we decided to watch Star Wars Visions, and it was watched across 2 nights because on the first night we watched, I believe, Ronin and the Village Bride. And then, either the night after or a couple of nights later, we decided to watch the rest of them. And I really enjoyed it. I think there was definitely some episodes that didn't catch me at all, and then there were some that caught me a little too much. But this was definitely a fun one, and I'm glad that I've now seen it, because while it's not connected to Star Wars Visions Season 2, this is an anthology series, I like that I've seen it. I like that I'm going into Season 2 having seen what came before it. So I can, almost compare them in a sense, although it will be difficult to do. And then rounding off this final segment for Last Month I Watched this month, we have Evangelion. Now this is something that my friend that I now live with described to me as Pacific Rim but anime, so I decided, he put it on one night and I decided I was going to pay attention to it. First 2 episodes did actually somewhat interest me, so I am intrigued to see where it goes from here. I probably will continue it. This will not be the last time I talk about it here. So keep coming back to segment 3 of Last Month I Watched if you want to know more. But that is going to do it for this month's episode of Last Month I Watched, which is everyone's favourite Letterboxd log show. If you've enjoyed it, please feel free to like the video, share it with your friends, and also, if you want to help out the channel, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. We are currently on the track to 1,000 subscribers. I feel like we're in the home stretch now. We could hit it very soon. I did have stuff I wanted to do for 1K, but at the rate we're going, it might be a little delayed because I don't think I'm going to get it done in time. But yeah, hopefully you have enjoyed this episode of Last Month I Watched, this new format. If not, it probably won't last to begin with anyway. But we can always hope. My name has been Jordan. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. I hope you continue to have a fantastic day. And I will see you all in the next one. So, this is it. Pending different light. This is the room. This is the new Media 13 setup. This is gonna likely be where I'm standing. Somewhere over here. Audio will obviously be improved before we start filming in here. But yeah, this is it. I think this is pretty cool. I'm looking forward to having this, and I'm looking forward to making it sound good in here, and I'm looking forward to making videos in here. So this has been your monthly setup update. Goodbye.